How to start. We're already live, but I'll say this: running late to the keynote because I have to drop off all my luggage and all that stuff. Come in and talk to Dr. Paul. He says you're in for a treat. You just made it. Okay, so I'm just gonna sit in the front row. Happen to see my friends Steve and Kathy there. Dude, I've never seen a keynote like that before. It's I don't even know where to start because I had a plan of like how am I going to talk to him. What are some things that all that went out the window. What I got out of your keynote was like age and identity. I saw a lot of myself in everything that you did. I saw my mother. I saw my father. I saw my wife's mother. Like you told a whole story. Like I'm actually seeing if you're gonna go to do other decades because I connected with everything. I want to know what inspired you to do something like this.
Well, I mean, I appreciate your takeaway. I think that's people sometimes ask me, what are you trying to achieve? And there's never one thing, but I'd say the feeling of it is of bringing people together and realizing that it's why this conference exists. It's about making a better world, realizing that
Yes.
I play for a living, and this is a play. It can connect us in ways that just facts can't. So stories have this unique way of reaching us in a deeper place than just a PowerPoint. So I try to bring in storytelling in everything I do and some theatricality because frankly, we're creatures of wonder. We want to be blown away, but we're so disenchanted by so much of the world. So I try to bring the joy, the play, the connectedness. But to answer your question, it started when my dad started sharing stories of his upbringing from Vienna.
Okay.
And so Boom Part 1 is the baby boom story that is about my dad coming from Vienna and meeting my mom. And there was actually a black man from Chicago that my mom nearly married. And then he was a draft dodger and he got arrested when he came back and she couldn't meet him. So there was this, I ended up with my dad, my dad is my dad through these weird circumstances that are just life. And so it was kind of this history, culture, technology, but all through human stories of real people going through, in my view, very similar life processes of like growing up, being blown away, being jilted, being all the things that a life, my parents lived it, my daughters lived it in part 3 of the show. I live it in this, which is the second part of a trilogy of shows that I've made called the Boom Trilogy.
Wait a minute, this is a trilogy.
It is, yes. You might have missed the intro where I presented as like, this is the middle show of 3 that I've performed 700 times all over the world in different languages. And this is the middle one. So there is the earlier one and there's the later one where I talk to Gen Z and millennials. And all in all, it's never been performed as one giant trilogy, and that's my goal.
That's what I was looking for because I was so dying to see like, okay, what's next? And to be honest, I was like, okay, I was wanting to see how you were going to do like the 90s, 2000s. So it was like, I was thinking, okay, what you going to do with like, Pop and Backstreet Boys and all those kind of things.
That's in the next one.
And I was like, I was
maybe
just,
next time. Seriously.
I was just so dying to crave and want more. Hopefully you video that. Well, putting it on YouTube, I don't think is even going to do it justice because you have to see what you're doing, and I don't even know how long it took you to even just go through because you were going through your laptop going, I'm gonna go here. It wasn't a PowerPoint.
Normally I don't do this myself. See, normally I'm in a play and it's a theater production. I was running the whole damn thing without any lighting or anything.
But it works. To me, I would have never known that. But
cool.
It was, what is it, imperfectly perfect or whatever the word is. And so
failure is built into it.
I was gonna say I encourage you to keep it like that because I love the vulnerability of it. The tech wasn't like where it needed to be, but that's okay. You already knew where to go right then from that. I know that's your theater training.
And that to me is what I've learned from theater is the ability to handle things with grace, to handle failure actually with grace. Failure is not like me. It's just me forgetting a cue. But if you do it with a smile, then the audience is brought into something that is as imperfect as we are. So it becomes a real reflection of humanity to me. So I like when things run well.
Right,
and
absolutely.
I honestly like it when I have all my bells and whistles because normally I'm behind the screen. I disappear. You don't see any costume changes. The play itself is really slick and cool, but I love that I can do it with like no tech. I just plugged into my laptop, put on the stupid little light, and I could still pull it off. And to me, that's like playing a song acoustic. It's still got to be good acoustic.
Yeah, I've learned from this past week, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get your content out there, let people know your story, and that's what really resonated when I watched you. I'm telling my story. You were very honest, very vulnerable. You didn't even have to go there. Like some things, you just went there, because there were parts in our country that went there. So if the country can go there, why can't I go there? But at the same time, you're dealing with that identity where somebody, or maybe yourself, is saying, okay, I probably need to be here while this is going on over here because it's safe. And you chose certain routes that probably were safe, but then probably like, I'm going to go over here because this is what's going to bring me peace. And that's what I got out of all of that.
Look, I'm a white person who grew up with a lot of racism when I was growing up, and I'm sure you have your story around that.
Yeah.
So I have my own take on that, but I'm also speaking to 4 different characters who gave me different perspective on stuff. And so when, my character Brandon, who's, one of my best friends, he shared his story with me, knowing full well that, okay, you're going to do my voice and you're going to tell my parents' story of a, Jamaican-born woman coming to Canada. Right. But you're not doing it to take over my story. You're doing it to put something in context, to go, this isn't just happening in some Alabama. It's happening in everywhere. Montreal, Canada.
Yeah.
And that we somehow have, with all the steps we do to pull it forward, we're always facing the steps that pull us back. So it's ongoing, the work. And so I throw myself into it, not out of like vanity or a presumption of being.
I didn't get any of that.
Try to be humble and to go, you know what? I understand that story better by having thrown myself into that vulnerable place.
I saw yourself, and and for some people, especially in today's society, when you do the impersonation, like, what you trying to do? We're gonna cancel you and all that stuff. I'll be honest, I was like, how far is he going to take this? How far is it? And I didn't, like, when you put on the Fight the Power, like, is he going to have the X cap on? That's what I was like, oh no. Okay,
no, don't do it.
I was like, okay, he doesn't have the X cap on. Because I was going to see how far you were going to push it. I was really going to see how far, but you went there and like, okay, this is probably as far as I'm going to go. I don't know how you do it in the theaters, but
it's what's trickier here is that normally I'm behind a screen and I'm only lit in silhouette. So you're just seeing a body moving.
Okay.
Here, so that's why I turned away to face the screen.
I loved it.
I mean, because normally the screen is a bit of a protective layer so that I can probably get away with more on stage with all the lighting and everything than I can here. But again, I'm also not afraid. I'm somebody who is not afraid to accept my own flaws and my own limits in my thinking. And also to feel, I want people to feel alive when they're watching it, to feel that. How far is it going to go? That is a very visceral reaction to something. I'm not trying to piss anyone off.
No.
But to push someone to go, where is this going? We don't feel that a lot.
We don't.
And at a conference where, this is an amazing conference, but generally we're faced with people presenting their work in PowerPoint. I did it the other day. But to push it a little bit, to kind of break that fourth wall, to risk a little theatricality is part of why I think it adds to the value of a conference like this, because it's playful as hell.
So I didn't get to go to your last session. So I'm hearing like, okay, on this side, I did the PowerPoint. On this side, I went all out. Where do you feel like you're more comfortable? Are you comfortable on like the slide deck side? Or?
I should say the slide deck had lots of elements where like I was literally dancing on a table during my PowerPoint. So I bridge both, and I make my presentations as much a reflection of me, which is I'm a bit of a ham, but I'm also somebody who takes play very seriously.
Okay.
So I brought in a lot of theatricality and there's a lot of video, but it wasn't nearly as theater as this one.
You've been very theatrical since the first day. That was you that was singing in French and German. I was like, and didn't you say really I'm an introvert? Is that what you said?
It's funny. I did say I'm an introvert because, I mean, one can be many things, right? The paradox of like, I love being in front of people and I draw a lot of energy from it. But I think where I get the most energy, which in a way is the definition of what you are, where do you draw the most energy? Being alone or being in groups of people? I draw it when I'm alone.
Yes,
so that is one definition of introversion that I really subscribe to is where do you recharge your battery? I don't recharge my battery. I deplete my battery when I'm with people. And so I don't seek out that a lot. I need people to draw me out sometimes to go out and, because my outside performance is so performative that my wife sometimes needs to encourage me to, no, let's go out, let's do something, right?
My wife does the same thing.
Yeah, I want to, and maybe that's a guy thing. I don't know. I find I like writing, researching, learning. I do a lot of that on my own, but then I bring it to people and it grows and evolves.
Yeah, I saw a lot, like I said, I saw a lot of myself in what you were doing, especially when I do stuff like this. Like, I tell people, like, I understand now what it means to be a content creator, because it's a totally different persona. It reminded me of one of the, I saw something when I was scrolling years back where somebody was in the restaurant and they were just doing a food video thing, and then they turned it off and they were like, okay. And I'm like, that is content creation. That is, I was a thespian in high school.
Oh yeah,
but
you got a bit of that in you. I could tell.
People do say I have the gift of gab, but like I noticed that there's times where, okay, turn off, I'm over here doing this. Yes. And so, but I want to know, what were some things that you wish I know time was of the essence, but what were some of the things that you wish you probably would have said that you couldn't in there because time was like, okay, we have to hurry up?
Well, I mean, I almost was able to wrap it up with a view of, people get an idea that there's somebody on a quest. To me, watching a solo performance, you can go watch someone in Vegas do a lot of voices, and it's funny and it's impressive, but it doesn't try to move you or take you anywhere. I think when you watch this show, you watch someone growing up literally in front of you. You watch from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I watched you grow up.
Place where you mentioned identity. It's somebody finding who they are. Mm-hmm. And I think I wasn't quite able to button it, but I almost got there with, like, I am a product of all the people around me.
Yes.
In some ways kicking my ass, pushing me to be better. And that's what I would have wrapped it up had I had a little more time, is to remind people that I put on wigs, not just to make you laugh or to make you go, oh wow, he can sing like so-and-so. It's to make you go that I'm on a quest constantly to find myself and my place in the world and how I can be of most use. And so if I can come entertain you, great. If I can move you, make you think, perhaps challenge you, that's what happened to me as a kid, and that's where I am today. I'm learning every day.
Yeah, again, because I didn't see impersonations. I saw when you were telling your story, and say you put on the Tina Turner wig and the dress, and you put on this, you put on that. I still saw you.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most important thing. Is like, you talked about whatever issues were happening at the time, how you felt. Okay, now I'm gonna be Tina Turner in this moment, but this is where I was at that moment.
I was a kid who put on my mom's wigs. I put on my mom's bathing suit. It's part of being a kid, is like, you try on, like some people just play with toys. I play dress up, right? Like, okay. And so you seeing me play dress up, I still do this 56 years later.
Wow.
So it's partly, yes, leaving an impression. Doing an impression is one thing. I sort of take it very seriously, and I'm not trying to pretend that, of course, that I'm Tina Turner. No. However, there's something that happens to the voice. It's joyful to watch someone do something you can't do. We feel that way when we watch athletes too, right?
Yeah.
There's an element of performance that is about leaving an impression. And so I want to leave people with an impression that, some people are probably going to go, I wasn't ready for that at 9 a.m., but I'll never forget it. That's an impression, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was not ready. And I don't know, something just told me to go in the front and watch.
I'm so glad you were there.
And I was just like, he was talking fast. And like I said, like, even though you started from where I sat in the beginning, it made me reflect on, okay, I wasn't born yet. When people talk about time frames, I go, okay, that means like, okay, Rick is maybe 14 years older than me, so I wasn't born. So I'm sitting there calculating what's going on, and then I'm calculating, like, what were my parents
doing? What were your parents doing, right?
When you did, I'm like, what were my parents doing at that time? And then when you get to this part, I'm like, all right, I'm born. What's happening?
Yeah.
I was going through, like, amazing. Here are the things that I was going through, and you kind of stopped at, like, what, early 90s, late 90s. I'm like, dang it, I was in 5th grade, so my life hadn't even really started yet. And so that's why I was so dying, like, what is he going to do now? Because you went to, I think you touched a little bit on high school, but you talked about more of your college years. And I'm like, I really want to see what that was like, because I wanted to put myself in your story because I just really, really felt it. And I'll be honest, it had nothing to do with like a lot of what was talked about here, but it did honor play, and that's what I love. These are things that were happening at that time, and I talk about this to my kids. I don't know how old your kids are, but my kids are in their 20s.
Me too. My kids are in their 20s
okay,
too.
so
you had them early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had them early. And so I tell the stories, and when you had stuff going across the street, I'm going, yeah, I remember that. Yes, I remember where I was there. And when my kids watch whatever it is on Netflix or Hulu, and they make these, I'm not gonna say documentaries, or just like biopics of what happened.
Yeah.
You know, they turn to me like, so what was that like? And I go, you really want to know what that was like? Like, where was it? Like, number one, I was a kid, so I couldn't process it. But watching it now as an adult, I can tell you what was going on.
Yeah.
Your generation is very different. It's not perfect. It's mine wasn't that perfect, but you're gonna have these same type of stories, these same type of life lessons. It's just gonna look different. I was able to really internalize everything, even in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. Why? Because my parents told those stories from their perspective.
Yep.
I also want to know the four people. Was it four?
Yep.
The four people that you include in your story. Have they seen this, and how do they feel? How do they feel about it?
Well, one is my wife, and she
that's right.
Seen it many times. And she's like, oh God, you're going to do my bad voice. You're going to do a version that doesn't sound like me. So I do a version of her, and I don't do her justice. But she's happy with what I'm saying. I mean, basically, she gave me a real sort of kick in the ass in terms of standing up for some of the right things. So did Annika, my stepsister. She's seen the show. She thought, wow, okay, I now see what you were onto. So Brandon, whose actual real name is Sebastian, he brought his mom and dad, who are in all these pictures that he showed me. They saw it. They were blown away and quite moved, I think. Of course, I'm twisting their stories.
Oh, absolutely. Right? You're not getting all of their business.
They had all seen my first show, Boom, where I'm taking their stories and I'm making it kind of my own to make it work in the form.
Yeah.
But and Howard, who's again different name, but he saw it too. He's like, man, this is really impressive. You're bringing people together and using my story to build this thing that is hard to describe.
Very hard.
Really quite powerful. It's had a long life. And I want to keep doing these shows. I want to come to high schools. I mean, I would cut some of the sections that are a little edgier for certain high schools. But, you know, like there was a part in 1972 where George Carlin does his 7 words you can't hear on television. And I wasn't even born, and I can remember that. I remember that. Like All in the Family, these TV shows, we were going there in the 70s. We were trying to get at this stuff, and then we backtracked. Right? So I'm trying to show that it's not just now where people were sensitive then, but I think society as a whole took a backseat when they saw what the 60s led into the 70s.
Okay.
With all that progress, which was imperfect, but it was progress. And they kind of freaked out and headed back into more conservative places, safer places for a long time. And anyway, that's a bad sociological analysis, but I put it in there not to swear on stage or to make people feel like, just to go, 1972, man, George Carlin was saying this stuff, trying to challenge our unease around things, and so were TV shows. They were really edgy, and then we kind of got soft, and it was all about sitcoms and Three's Company, you know.
And I was gonna say, when you were talking about Three's Company too, just a small side note. Like for a while, I didn't even know the premise that Jack Tripper was pretending to be gay until I got older. I'm like, oh, okay. It was pushing it, but not really pushing it. It was cute. But when you like All in the Family is actually one of my favorite shows. Sanford & Son is one of my favorite shows because that's what I was raised on.
Yeah.
And when you showed that clip, I said, I know where that's going.
Is such a good clip,
And like, that was very controversial at the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you're saying, like, we've kind of backtracked to where, like, we don't want to show anything like that. But the way you just presented it, the way you talk about play in that way, that play can be messy. Play is also controversial. Play makes you feel. Play makes you go through. Play can make you fail.
Yeah.
Again, I got through all of that, and I was just, I don't even know if impressed is the right word. I I've never seen anything like that. You do need to go to high schools with this. If it has to be after school to where they have to do like some like, hey, I'm talking about this. Like, I feel like if you took parts away, it's not going to give it justice.
I know. You know what? And it's always dealing with various school boards, but you know what? That's a happy problem to have.
It is like, colleges would be good with it.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I think there's some tour dates coming up in the U.S. I forget exactly where I'm going. I think closest is New Jersey. But I tend to go to performing arts centers, not colleges. But often the performing arts centers are on colleges, and they can never get the college students to come.
Really,
it's weird, you know. So anyway, all that to say, I've been doing this show for a while. This was the first time I've ever done it in the form of a keynote, and it was a real privilege to do it. But it was such a joy to watch people kind of like you go with me. So I'm very grateful.
I really did go with you. Did even Paul? I know you got to go. But
no, I'm good. I'm just checking out my stuff.
Did Paul know where you were going with this?
No, Paul had never seen it. He trusts me now because he's seen me do a bunch of stuff, and he's never seen this particular show. So I told him, I described it. I said, look, this is going to be unlike what you're used to, but I think your people can handle it.
I did the same thing with this. When I talked to him, it reminded me, like I said, well, I'm just going to go around and I want to get people's perspective from presenters to keynotes to attendees, and I presented this whole entire plan, and I will quote, so I'm sorry if I'm saying this, he's like, this is fucking brilliant. I'm like, really, it is? I said, this is something I've always wanted to do, because
your project here,
this project here, where I'm just walking around with my camera and just getting on the spot interviews, perspectives, what do you like, what do you don't like, how's it going? It's my first time doing it, but
you're going to share it with me, right?
This is on you. I will give you my YouTube because this is on.
This is online.
This is on YouTube right now. We're live. So yeah, definitely, you can share it with whoever you want to share.
I should look.
I don't know if there are any comments. No, it's okay. Zero, but that's okay. People will look at it later. So, but I just want to say, brilliant. I want to see more. I think you need to write a book. If that's not in the making,
thanks, man.
I've never wanted to go up front and listen to a speech. I've actually never done that. I'm usually in the back. I'm usually like, let me go. I didn't even pull out my phone once. When I pulled out my phone, it was to take pictures of you. But you made it so engaging that like I can't put my phone down and do work or text or whatever, because I gotta know where he's going with this.
You're the best. Thank you.
So I appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so much. I need to follow you. Do you have where can I contact you?
At Rick Miller Actor on Instagram. Facebook is different. I don't use Facebook a lot.
I barely don't.
I have a YouTube channel. I think it's also at Rick Miller. Rick Miller is a common name, so Rick Miller Actor is, I think, where it is. Okay. If you go to my website, it has all the links. Okay. rickmiller.ca for Canada.
Gotcha. Is it in our Umbrella app too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you can find me.
I'll pull it 100%. Up there. Rick.
You know what? Once you're done, I'll just connect you to everything right here. There's
nice.
Business card, but
nice. Okay, Rick, thank you so much for doing this. Safe travels.
Thanks, man. I forgot where you say you're from, but for doing this.
I love your story, folks. Please follow him. I will put that in the show notes so that you can, if you're ever, I guess, overseas or wherever he's doing this, y'all need to come see this, because
contact me. Do you see that? You see that? Contact me. I'm happy to talk to anybody. There you go.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
See you, man.
All right.